Have you ever felt like you were drowning, like life's problems were crashing over you wave after wave? You're not alone. We all face those moments, times when fear grips our hearts, and uncertainty clouds our minds. It's in these difficult times when our strength falters that we discover a source of unwavering strength: God. Just as a lighthouse guides ships through the darkest storms, God's love offers us direction and hope. He promises to be our anchor in the storm, our refuge, our strength, our ever-present help in times of trouble. This message is about finding peace and strength in God's presence, even when life feels overwhelming. The Bible is filled with stories of people who faced incredible challenges, yet found solace and strength in their faith. Their stories, along with God's promises, remind us that we are never alone. Let's journey together and discover the transformative power of trusting God in difficult times. Trusting God begins with a simple but profound instruction found in Proverbs 3:5-6. These verses remind us, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight." Trust isn't passive, it requires an active decision to place our confidence in God's wisdom over our limited perspective. Leaning on our understanding often leads to confusion and stress because our view is limited and skewed by immediate circumstances. However, when we submit our ways to God, we acknowledge His sovereignty and wisdom. God's promise in these verses is clear: He will make our paths straight. This doesn't mean life will be devoid of challenges, but it assures us that God will guide us through them. Trusting God with all our hearts means committing our fears, decisions, and futures to Him. Another powerful assurance of God's faithfulness is found in Psalm 34:17-18. These verses tell us, "The righteous cry out, and the Lord hears them. He delivers them from all their troubles. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." These words are a profound comfort, promising God's proximity and deliverance in our darkest moments. God does not ignore our pain. When we are brokenhearted and crushed, He is closest to us. This presence is not a distant or passive one. God actively hears our cries and steps into our suffering with us. His presence brings comfort and hope, reassuring us that we are not alone in our pain. Sometimes, deliverance is the strength to endure, the peace to remain calm, and the hope to keep moving forward. Romans chapter 8 verse 28 offers a powerful perspective on suffering and God's sovereignty. "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." This verse reassures us that God can bring good out of every situation, no matter how painful or confusing it might be. The promise here is not that all things are good, but that God works all things together for good. Life includes suffering and trial, but God's ability to weave these experiences into a tapestry of purpose gives us hope. He is the master weaver, turning our broken threads into a beautiful design. Understanding this requires faith. When we are in the midst of suffering, it can be challenging to see any potential good, but this verse calls us to trust in God's bigger picture. His purpose transcends our immediate pain. Trusting in this promise helps us to endure our trials with hope and perseverance. The Bible provides powerful narratives of God's faithfulness in suffering. Two significant stories are those of Job and Jesus calming the storm. Job endured unimaginable suffering but remained steadfast in faith. He questioned and wrestled with pain but trusted God. Job's perseverance is a testament to unwavering faith. In the New Testament, Jesus calms the storm. In Mark 4:35-41, Jesus rebukes the wind and waves. The storm ceases and there is a great calm. Trusting God means believing He brings peace and restoration. The phone seemed to slip from Sarah's grasp, the plastic clattering against the hardwood floor. Her mind raced, struggling to grasp the words the doctor had just spoken. Tumor. Aggressive. Treatment. Just a few months ago, life had been a tapestry of bright colors. A loving husband, 2 vibrant children, a fulfilling career. Now, a dark cloud had settled over her world, threatening to steal the joy she'd so carefully cultivated. The initial shock gave way to a torrent of emotions. Fear, anger, confusion. How could this be happening? She'd always tried to live a good life, to be kind, to trust in God's plan. The weight of the unknown pressed down on her, threatening to suffocate her. As days turned into weeks, Sarah found herself on a roller coaster of emotions. The initial shock gradually morphed into a dull ache of fear that permeated her days. The treatments were grueling, each one a reminder of the battle raging within her body. She tried to remain strong for her family, pasting on a brave face as she tucked her children into bed, their innocent questions about her illness stabbing at her heart. But in the quiet moments, when the house was still and darkness enveloped her room, doubt crept in like a thief. Her faith, once a sturdy anchor, now felt frayed, threatened by the relentless waves of doubt and fear. One evening, as Sarah sat by her window watching the sunset paint the sky in hues of orange and purple, her mother came to her, her eyes filled with a familiar love and concern. Wordlessly, she handed Sarah a worn Bible, its pages softened with time and use. "He's still there, you know," her mother whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "Even when you can't feel him, he's holding on to you." Sarah opened the Bible to a random page, her eyes falling on Psalm 46 verse 1. "God is our refuge and strength and ever-present help in trouble." The words seemed to leap off the page, piercing the darkness of her despair. In that moment, a glimmer of hope ignited within her. She began to read the Psalms daily, finding solace in the raw honesty of David's words, his expressions of doubt and fear resonating deeply with her own. Slowly, gradually, a sense of peace began to wash over Sarah. It wasn't a peace that ignored the storm raging around her, but a peace that transcended it. It was the peace of knowing that she wasn't facing this alone. God was with her, walking with her through the fire, carrying her when she was too weak to walk on her own. Her faith, once shaken, emerged from the crucible of suffering refined and strengthened. It wasn't about having all the answers or demanding a miracle. It was about trusting in God's goodness and faithfulness, even when His ways were beyond her understanding. Sarah's story is a powerful reminder that even in the darkest of times, God's love shines brightly. When life's storms rage around us, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by fear and uncertainty. Our minds race, trying to find solutions to regain control. But often the most powerful step we can take is to surrender our worries to God through prayer. Prayer is not about reciting empty words or demanding specific outcomes. It's about opening our hearts to God, acknowledging our need for Him, and surrendering our burdens into His loving care. Imagine pouring out your heart to a loving parent, sharing your fears, your anxieties, your deepest concerns. This is the essence of prayer. Surrendering our worries to God doesn't mean ignoring our problems or pretending they don't exist. It's about releasing the burden of control and trusting that God is working, even when we can't see the solution. God's Word, the Bible, is a treasure chest filled with promises to guide us through life's journey. These promises are not empty words but declarations of God's unwavering love, faithfulness, and power. When we face difficult times, meditating on His promises can anchor our hearts and renew our hope. Imagine holding a compass in the midst of a dense forest. The compass doesn't change the terrain, but it provides direction and guides us safely through. Similarly, God's promises don't remove our challenges, but they provide clarity, guidance, and a reminder of God's presence. As you immerse yourself in God's Word, you'll discover promises of comfort, strength, guidance, and hope. We were never meant to walk through life alone. God created us for community, to support and encourage one another, especially during difficult times. Surrounding ourselves with a supportive faith community can make a world of difference when we're facing challenges. Imagine a group of trees standing together, their roots intertwined. When a storm hits, they are stronger together, able to withstand the winds that would topple them individually. Similarly, when we are connected to a supportive community, we draw strength from one another, sharing burdens, offering encouragement, and reminding each other of God's faithfulness. Seek out a church, a small group, or a group of trusted friends who share your faith. Share your struggles honestly, knowing that you are in a safe and loving space. Pray for one another, offer words of encouragement, and remind each other of God's promises. Sometimes, just knowing that others understand what you're going through can make a world of difference. The power of shared experiences, prayer, and encouragement within a faith community can provide a lifeline of hope and strength when you need it most. When we face difficult times, it's easy to focus on the present pain and lose sight of God's faithfulness in the past. However, reflecting on past instances where God has seen us through can strengthen our faith and remind us that He is trustworthy, even when we can't see the path ahead. Think back to times in your life when you faced challenges and God provided a way through. Remember how He answered your prayers, brought comfort in your pain, or provided unexpected blessings. These memories are not just sentimental reminders, they are powerful testimonies to God's faithfulness. Write down these experiences in a journal. Detail the challenges you faced, how you prayed, and how God worked in your life. These written testimonies will serve as reminders of God's faithfulness during future trials. When doubt creeps in and fear threatens to overwhelm you, revisit these testimonies. Remind yourself that the God who saw you through past storms is the same God who walks with you now. He has not changed and His faithfulness endures forever. Remembering His past faithfulness can ignite hope in the present and strengthen your trust in His unwavering love and care. As we've journeyed together exploring the depths of trusting God in difficult times, we've encountered the unwavering truth of His Word, the comforting embrace of His presence, and the inspiring examples of those who have clung to their faith amidst life's storms. Trusting God doesn't erase our problems or shield us from pain. Challenges test our resilience, refine our character, and draw us closer to the one who never leaves our side. The storms of life may rage around us, but our hope is not found in the absence of storms. Our hope is anchored in the one who calms the storms, who holds us steady amidst the turbulence, and whispers words of peace to our weary souls. Trusting God often requires us to take a step of faith into the unknown, to cling to His promises even when we can't see the path ahead. It's like walking on a path shrouded in mist, knowing that the solid ground is beneath our feet, even if we can't see it clearly. In those moments when doubt clouds our vision and fear threatens to paralyze us, we remember the words of Hebrews chapter 11 verse 1. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for, and assurance about what we do not see. Faith is not about conjuring up a feeling of certainty when everything within us screams otherwise. It's about choosing to believe in God's goodness and faithfulness, even when our emotions and circumstances tempt us to doubt. It's about anchoring our hearts to the truth of His Word, to the countless testimonies of His faithfulness throughout history and in our own lives. It's about choosing to trust that He is working behind the scenes, even when we can't see the outcome, and that He will never leave us nor forsake us. As you continue on your journey of trusting God in difficult times, remember that it's a process, not a destination. There will be moments of doubt, seasons of questioning, and times when your faith feels stretched to its limits. But in those moments, don't give up. Don't allow the enemy to steal your hope or convince you that you're alone. Run to God's Word, pour out your heart to Him in prayer, seek support from your faith community, and remind yourself of His faithfulness in the past. These are the anchors that will keep you steady amidst the storms. Remember Sarah, the woman whose faith was refined through the fire of her illness? Her story reminds us that even in the darkest of times, God's love shines brightly, and His strength is sufficient for every trial. Your journey of trust might look different from Sarah's or anyone else's, and that's okay. God meets us where we are, in our unique circumstances, with His unwavering love and grace. Embrace the journey with all its twists and turns, knowing that He is walking with you every step of the way. We'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts, your own experiences of trusting God, or any questions you might have in the comments below. Let's encourage and support one another on this journey of faith. If this message has resonated with you, please consider subscribing to our channel for more faith-based encouragement and practical guidance for navigating life's challenges. Remember, you are not alone. God is with you, He loves you, and He will see you through.